What is up, everybody? This is Jonathan Langford with the Savage Podcast. I am here with Mr. Adam Rorda. Mr. Adam, how are you today?
I'm doing excellent. Glad to be here today. It's kind of a surprise episode for everybody who is not really following us, or is. Actually, this is more of a surprise to you that we are coming in on a Tuesday afternoon, but it's a special treat because we missed on Sunday because of being busy. We're always on the grind and getting teed up to knock things out of the ballpark, and this week we were able to not do it. It just didn't line up, so we've gone ahead and made sure to stay true to our word and get you guys an episode out this week, just like every other week.
And thank y'all for listening again. Today we're going to cover branding yourself and marketing your company, and the do's and don'ts, and what are some ups and some downs that we can focus on when we're building our brands and building our personal social media and stuff like that. So, Adam, you have any thoughts to start off?
Well, yeah, definitely. Starting off, when we're talking about your brand, we're not just talking about your logo. We're not just talking about your letterhead. We're not just talking about the design aspects. That's an ID package. When we talk about brand, it is a whole slew of things that we could really get into, and really would be multiple episodes, and literally we could make an entire year's worth of episodes on building your brand. But today I think would just like to go ahead and start off by saying it is important to have your logo figured out, but it's not just about that. It's about your product, and are you portraying your product or service appropriately? And that is where John and I actually excel and have our strong suit. So we figured we'd bring you guys this episode today, and to start out with that and being able to make sure that you do that, I would say my number one piece of advice, John, would be just to go ahead and make sure the listeners know that it's vital you know exactly what you're trying to portray to your customers and whether they will accept it or not. Write it down on a piece of paper and figure out if it will be accepted by your customers as the point that you're trying to get across.
So I would say, let me give 3 simple steps to getting yourself out there. Number one, a lot of mistakes that a lot of entrepreneurs make is they're more worried about the price tag on the service or the price tag on the product, instead of educating people on the product and actually getting actual testimony from their clients and actually telling the story behind their brand. A lot of people, when it comes, unless you're selling a Coca-Cola or a soda, there's a difference. If I'm offering a website service, or I'm offering a service to help you out with your social media, if I'm offering you a service of some way, shape, or form, even when we're doing branding for the Savage Podcast, we're trying to add value to the customer. We're not trying to take away from the customer. It can go like this. How many billboards are out there that have a 1-800 number on it and then tell you what service they offer, and that's it? With social media and online branding, you can get more in depth. For like $60, you can run like Facebook ads or even Instagram ads that go for your brand and get a pretty big following to look at those. And then if you put a pretty good advertisement out there talking about your brand, for instance, I used to work with a used car dealership, and there was a mother that came in and she was able to get a car for $0 down. She was able to do $200 a month. She was a single mother, had to support 3 kids, get herself to work, take her kids to school, and those were the kind of stories that we like to share. And then we actually got video footage of her and the person who sold the car, and we posted on Instagram, and had probably about 5,000 views on the video. Even though it was just local, it sparked brand recognition, and that car dealership has done very well over the last few years. So bringing your brand to existence and showing the authenticity behind your service, and showing that the service can benefit somebody in a positive way, that's what we're looking for. And there's other ways to do this too. You have to find your niche that your brand is going after. If you're selling t-shirts, what makes you unique compared to all the other people selling t-shirts? What makes you different from the rest of your competition. A lot of people don't understand that. With just putting a price tag on Instagram saying, hey, here's our new design, here's $5. Okay, cool. What about the t-shirt? Who's wearing the t-shirt? If you got a picture of a local celebrity wearing that t-shirt, that'd be a good idea. Or, trying to get people to check your product out and giving brand recognition. Like one thing that a lot of entrepreneurs has told me in the past, put some free work in and then you'll get extra work out of it. So one thing I do when I'm building websites or talking to a client about their social media, I give them a free consultation. I meat up with them, try to help them figure out a plan for their social media, and if they think I'm good and worth it, then they'll keep me signed on, and then I'll start proving myself.
I want to jump in there. You also want to be careful. You don't want to give out free work. That's not the right.
Too much.
Well, here's a piece of advice I have for anybody out there that is really trying to get things done. So you see a problem, and our jobs as entrepreneurs is to solve a problem and make money off of it, profit off of it, not take advantage of it, but see a problem and a solution and bring it to our clients. So if you see a problem and you one of your own problems that you have also on top of this potential customer's problem is you aren't able to walk in and say, I have a huge portfolio here, these are the customers I've worked with. When you have a problem with that, showing them that type of thing, what you do is actually go ahead and do the free work, and then you go up to them and say, here's the work that has been done. So here I've got a product. Go ahead and test it out. Let's put it up next to what you've done here. In the case, I'm a graphic designer, and somebody very wise told me to do it this way. Go ahead and print out a mock poster, not complete resolution or anything like that, but let them use it for a day.
Yeah.
And then tell them, if you want to keep this and you want to keep using this, you saw business improve for a day. Now you've got something here. You see the value. It's so much better than what all these other people are offering you at $100. You're going to have to pay the real price for it of, the $800 for the hours that I spent on this poster. If you want something a little better, which I could do better than this, but this is what you needed. As you can tell, this is what you needed. So when we're talking about building a brand, that's exactly the type of things that you have to do to go out there and let people know, this is what I do. This is the service I provide. And sometimes you do have to go out of your way and risk it and maybe not even get the job. But, providing free work, you don't want to be known for that.
Yeah.
So be careful in building your brand when we're talking about this part. I would recommend that.
When I say free work, let me backtrack a little bit. I'm not saying give all of your services and your products out for free. What I am saying is this: if you can give someone a free consultation, if you can give them like 1 or 2 tips on strategy and show them how you worked with clients in the past so they can see your self-worth, and then they look at you and say, okay, cool. If you go back to last week when we talked about certain books we should read, Gary Vee's Crushing It book has a very good detail. There was a woman in there that wanted to do social media marketing. She thought she was going to be a lawyer for the rest of her life, but she started working on a client's social media just to show them what she's worth. She posted like a couple images, and she worked for like 2 or 3 weeks to show them, hey, look, I can give you added value. Here's my clients. Here's what I've done. I think I see a niche of what your company can provide, and let me try to build that out on social media. And then they ended up giving her a paid position, and she ended up starting from there. And then she worked at that company for a while until she started her own branding agency, and now she's doing $1 million deals. And I think it's amazing when it comes to doing things like that. Like, just putting a little bit of effort out there and putting your neck out there on the line to show your brand. Something recently I've been doing on my personal channels, I want to inspire entrepreneurs to get fit. I want to inspire them to work hard. I want to inspire them on branding. I want to inspire them to talk to other people and build their brand, and do what me and Adam were talking about was build a mastermind and get people that are like you and start feeding off them and taking their information and criticism and putting into your brand and testing some of the information that has been given out.
Yeah, and our brands, we got to be very careful when we're out there just talking to anybody, just doing anything in public. You want people to know what you're all about always. There's never a moment you don't, as an entrepreneur, that you don't want people to know what it is you're about. Now, sometimes we say, well, we got to escape that, spend time with friends and family, which is absolutely true. I agree with that. We've got to take the time to just forget about any business and do that. But you got to remember, that's part of your brand also. Everything that you do is part of your brand. So me growing my hair out, letting it get wild, it actually works in the industries that I work. I'm a creative. I work as a consultant also in the financial world. Now there's some issues there, but I've found a way to make it work because I'm in the Bitcoin world as well, which is known for being the pioneers,
you can be a little rugged.
Yeah, I'm expected to be a little rugged. But, you know, I can also sharpen up, put on a suit, and go to a meeting and still have a thing going on. But I have my own image that I've created for people, not just with how I'm dressed, not with just how my hair is, but how I'm portraying myself with my verbiage, my language, my topics that I'm covering when I'm having any type of discussion, whether it be formal, informal, business meeting, just hanging out, talking with friends. People know my style of talk. It's pretty much the same all around, wouldn't you say? I mean, in person, I'm this way.
And also on top of that, here. Like for me, like I've been in the military. I've done military contracting the last few years. And when they see military veteran, no offense to you, but I have to have like a clean shaven face, certain way my hair is cut. They expect something from me when I come from the IT side. They expect this kid that has like a fresh look, and when I say fresh, I'm talking about everybody has their style, but market yourself to the best of your abilities. If you have long hair, fit it into your criteria. If you're clean cut and shaved, build it into who you are as a person. Everything about you should be a story when someone comes and sees you, because when you go in to talk to a client, it shouldn't feel like an interview process. What it should feel like is a conversation about the products and the services you offer and how you can benefit that client, if it's business to business or even just sell, like being a salesman. You have to educate your clients about why you're doing, why you're here, why you're into this, because a lot of clients want to know, why the heck are you trying to build your own brand, and why should they pick you? A lot of clients, especially from business to business relationship, they like to see the integrity and the grind that you're putting into your own company, and that's what dictates a lot of things, like investors coming in, making sure you get clients coming in the door, making sure you're making sales. Those are big opportunities you can't miss out on, and that's why personal branding yourself and your company kind of go hand in hand for a lot of parts.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, and I don't mean to talk about me or us too much, but one prime example, everybody, is, you know, John and I are always putting content out. Consistently putting out content about ourselves, about our lives, and it's not about what we ate for dinner, although that's not a bad idea, but there's better things to do than just pictures of your food and stuff like that, because you look at John and I, we have these podcasts that we do. I work on MMA Power Hour. People know me as Mr. iFluxy. This is, some people even call me iFluxy, and it's because people know that I am a content creator, and that it's very important that we're all content creators. When it comes to building your own personal brand, you're always going to be putting out content and creating it, and that's got to be part of your resolution process. If it's not, you're not building a brand that is super strong in today's day and age, because this is a very social media centric society that we live in. So it's very important that you utilize the tools at hand. And I think Gary Vee's even said this too. I'm not as big into Gary Vee, so let me know if I'm right or wrong here, John, but I don't understand when these people that are 50, 60 years old are sitting here turning down Snapchat, when they're turning down Instagram, when they're turning down LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter and everything else. They're turning it down because, well, it doesn't make sense to me. Well, it's not hard. There's no you don't have an excuse. This is part of your brand, and if you want a super strong company, say you've been doing construction for 50 years, the whole world needs to know about it. Well, you're dealing with Zennials and millennials now, who that's all they do is spend their time there. If you want to really make your money starting up your business or running with everything that is, sorry, I got something that popped up here on the screen, boys and girls. Well, but run with everything that's already been going on and working for you success-wise, you don't necessarily need it. But if you want to expand on it and make it really powerful, create that content. Spend a little bit of time on your phone just snapping photos of your projects and putting it on your social media and say, hey, I had a great talk. Another happy customer. They're absolutely loving my construction project that we were the sole construction company on. Now, when you do that, your 3 or 4 friends may share it. And then all of a sudden, just those 3 or 4 people that shared it, that were just proud of being associated with you and the work that you put out and that brand that you've already created, now has all of a sudden grown. And that's what we call virility or viral.
Well, can I... I'm fixing going on a rant.
Yeah.
I'm letting you do what you do because you nailed it. I think it comes down to this, and I'm gonna hit this on the head. I'm gonna hit this on the nail. I'm gonna let you know exactly what is going on. We as entrepreneurs spend so much time about figuring out how to balance our checkbook, and we try to figure out what we're gonna do for the client, but clients don't know who you are. Today in this world, in this marketing strategy, and with everything else, you have to be a branding company. Number 1. Number 2, you're a social media company. Number 3, you're a media company in general. There are news companies that are shooting in 1080p and can't even get out 4K videos. And there's people on YouTube that are making millions of dollars with millions of subscribers, and they're sitting here with 4K cameras pushing more content. Let's talk about Mr. Nightstat. And then you got people that are literally doing drone footages, and they're branding their companies and putting the grind in every day. Hey, look, I've been doing these fitness workout little vlogs, and yes, I've gotten a little bit of traction. It hasn't been a lot, but I've only been doing it for a week. But I'm pushing the content. So when people ask me, why have you been building this brand? Why have you been doing that? Because the more content I put out, I'm just savagely putting it out. And that's the name of this podcast for a reason. You have to be a savage. I have an upload schedule. Me and Adam have kind of fallen back on the workload schedule because we've been working our asses off. I'm going to say that with every piece of convention that comes down to it. Is this man is literally night day. I don't know how he sleeps. Thank God I take Ritalin, or I wouldn't be as focused as I am at 6 o'clock in the morning when I know I need to go put that workout in. I need to be healthy because there's more job opportunities that are coming down the track for me to get contracts and to push myself. Tomorrow I'm meeting with a client at 10:30. I'm literally hitting the gym at 8 o'clock, and this is a client that I met at the gym that wants to talk about his fitness brand. I'm also going to be vlogging about it. Those kind of things, those interactions to help people grow, that is what this is about. If you're not here to be a media company or anything else, it's going to be very hard for you to sell to the masses, for you to contact business to business. Like, there's towing.
Well, I'd be careful there. You don't need to be a media company, but you need to be developing content and putting it out, and your content needs to be delivered. There's other people that can help you with that. You can come to somebody like myself with iFluxy or John to help you get it done. So you don't have to be the media company, but you do need to have content being delivered and build up your brand, and it needs to be dispersed out there. Feel free to contact us if this hasn't been part of your business plan. We can help you out with the actual delivery. You can even have control of what it looks like and stuff like that, but we can help out with the hosting and delivery. But there's other people out there that can do it too, and it's really important that you have that product being pushed out. You don't need to be the media company doing it, but you do need to have that tied in to develop your brand in today's society. It's really important. Social media runs our lives.
When I'm saying being a media company, let me rephrase that. When it comes down to it, you have to put content out, and especially when you can do it in 4K, even with a cell phone. I'm telling you. Okay, I'm gonna hold this in front of the camera for a second. This is a cell phone. It shoots in 4K. Okay. I also have a hand gimbal for this phone, and I also have a Rode mic for this phone. This phone literally just turned into a social media marketing tool right off the bat, right? And I've done all my vlogs and shot this with 4K. With that being said, there is no reason for an entrepreneur that's first starting off to even push some type of content. And when you push your content, this right here is content, is giving you the brand and recognition of how you can push yourself further and further. And we also have a guest here, Mr. Fluffy Face himself. But with that being said, and I say that a lot, let me go back. When you are an entrepreneur, you have to find ways to market your company when you have no money and when you do have money. You're going to have to find strategies. It's going to have to be part of your business plan. You're going to have to motivate people to come see your products. You have to try to find ways for people to come see your pages, and you can start doing that by steady growth. And then once you get money, start pouring into your marketing. When you do marketing, you have to find different strategies to get attention, and that's one of the ways that we do the Savage Podcast, giving out free content. Again, when I say giving out free stuff, it doesn't always have to be the tips and tricks of the trade and the secret of everything else. You want people to know that you're the expert, and when they come and see your stuff getting posted, when I say social media, being an entrepreneur, and I want to help startups, I'm showing in my life how I'm keeping my startup going.
I have a studio dog today, so I'm trying to take care of him here. But so yeah, no, I absolutely 100% agree. And part of my brand actually is my dog. I'm sharing stuff on social media, Instagram, stuff like that, to let people know a little bit about me, insight into me, and little things like that do matter. When we're talking about this, it's not just letting people know that you're the expert, but providing your potential customers, which is everybody, a little bit of an understanding of who you are as a person or what your company is personality-wise. What is the vision? You need to let people know everything you can about the situation. I mean, you don't need to let them know the intimate details or proprietary information or intellectual property. You don't need to share that kind of stuff. But you can let people know, hey, we do have that's part of the picture. With iFluxy, I've got developers on my team, and I can't share 90% of what's going on, but I can let you know the vision. And I've shared screenshots of what I hope this turns into with the technology, on the technology side, with the front-end user possibilities of an app, and being able to deliver everything to everybody out there. It's part of the brand, and I won't let it die. I can't, and I'm going to be pushing it out into people's faces constantly, because guess what? That's who I am. You don't need to be an aggressive salesperson to do this delivery.
You don't really have to be. But
some of us are, like me naturally. I'm an aggressive salesperson. I've done that, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. In fact, I've learned, for a while it kind of was, but I took the criticism and I learned how to take that aggressive and turn it into a positive aspect of how I am branded. I'm known as the guy with the grit, that guy that is persistent and won't give up. So we got a dog chewing on a cable.
Going back to the grit and the grind, I think it's very important for people to understand that this is going to be the toughest road, and printing business cards is just not the only way to share your stuff. For instance, I met a guy that is into building his own dispensary for marijuana and other stuff, and we started talking the other day about some marketing tools, and we talked about my buddy in Colorado that I helped build his website for his dispensary. Now, believe what you want about pot or whatnot, when it comes down to it, it's a legitimate company, and I'm sitting here and I gave one or two strategies out, and then he asked for my card. The thing is, find every avenue you can. Do not turn down networking. If someone invites you to a networking event, go to it. Dress nice, show up to it, hold some business cards, and talk to people. Be very considerate about their needs for their brand. For me, I build websites. I also do social media marketing. I do content creation, and I want the brands that I've worked with to have good content. I want people to see them in a positive light, and I want to help them on their reviews. That doesn't mean I'm going to help them get rid of their negative reviews. It means I want to get them the best reviews possible so their brand looks better. And when your brand looks good in the public eye, then people want to start working with you. And on top of that, you have to remember, this is a popularity contest. I'm going to be honest 100% about that. One negative, every company, every big company, small company, no matter what, they are one review or comment away from becoming a terrible brand or a company. And that's why we have
or
to
a powerful brand or company.
Powerful
you
brand
come
or
in
company.
with what's called an influencer, and all of a sudden bam, everybody is there and being a client. And that's another thing with building your brand. You want to make sure that you are bringing in people. I brought it up in the last episode, center of influence. So people that have 5, 10 other people that have 5, 10 other people that have 5, 10 other people around them that will purchase your product or service and be happy to have been a part of it. It's very important that you're reaching out to those people. And I think when I started out this episode, when we were talking about writing down what it is that you're trying to get out to your customers, and am I appropriately conveying it so that they understand it and actually enjoy and pull value out of it, you need to do that and figure out who it is exactly that you're approaching with your brand and how. And you need to think about how you're going to do it in the future. And those are the things that you need to be doing with your content delivery. So taking pictures so that you can actually attract those people into your product or service. How is it that you're bringing value to them, and giving them a little teaser? I think is kind of what you're saying by the free is giving them a teaser
and giving something away that kind of educates people about what you're doing. And then second, let's go back to the comment idea that we were talking about. Let's take food bloggers for instance. Food bloggers came in, and they can be a positive thing for a restaurant or a negative thing for a restaurant. So with having food vloggers come in, they can make a video or an actual blog or post something on Facebook that is positive or negative towards a client and their customer. So with having a food vlogger come in, I've seen restaurants literally fail because they posted one thing on Facebook. They had like a 10,000 following in the local area, and that company never again could sold a very good plate of shrimp or something like that. And when it comes down to it, is influencers are the same way. People pay influencers to review. They don't pay influencers to review a product. Let's talk about Linus Tech Tips. There's things like Linus Tech Tips, Jay's 2 cents that review computer pieces, computer parts, and give their recommendation on buying that piece. And they're not getting paid for advertising that piece. They're getting paid on reviewing because they're seen as experts in the field of reviewing technology. So, and that's why companies send out reviewing things like that. And there's also other things like on Instagram. Certain brands will pay people with big Instagram followings to put like a Coke product out, or hold a bag that they're holding, or a t-shirt they're wearing. So it's brand recognition, and being an influencer allows people to do that kind of stuff, so that when it comes down to branding and legitimizing what you're doing, making sure you have good reviews, comments, and people talking about your brand is the best thing ever.
Absolutely. And I think to be able to attract that, again, it comes back down to that content delivery. It always does. So, just because of my personality,
and that's where the comments go.
Yeah, my personality, or my company's personality of everything that I portrayed to them originally, when they get that at the spot of service, they're going to leave a positive review because they got what they expected, exactly what they expected. And sometimes the element of surprise is a good thing to have as well, but make sure that that's tied in the right way, and you know how to approach it. So sometimes integrity is on the line when you think about bringing an element of surprise to things. I usually suggest you don't do it, but there are ways to go ahead and do it. Some people can be annoyed by honesty sometimes too. So there's this weird balance you've got to find with everything. You don't want to be too transparent. I did that for years. That was one of the biggest mistakes I could have ever done, was letting everybody know, hey, I've got these big deals that are in the works. Oh shoot, they didn't work out. So yeah, people kind of started to get to know me as the person who just kept failing. That's all they thought of me, and eventually it changed, so it really didn't matter. But you got to be careful. You don't want to be too transparent. You don't want to be leaving too much of mystique there either. Just find that balance. It takes some trial and error, I'd say. But
I call it Cliff Notes. Give them the meat that they came for, right? If I've had people ask me, well, what separates you from Wix and Squarespace? Well, the thing that separates me from Wix and Squarespace is that I actually build complex products that in website development that you cannot get from Wix and Squarespace. I can give you actual statistics on who's visiting your website. I can build the e-commerce to how you want it, but also I can build a CRM. I can build where you can maintain your client management software and things like that. So building complex systems for clients is what I do. I'm not here just to build a 5-page website for you. I'm here to do more than that. I'm here to be on.
Well,
your
I mean, if you want to, yeah, exactly. If you want a 5-page website, it's not just a 5-page website that is something that you think you need. I'm going to deliver something that you think you need, plus more, with all the bells and whistles on a 5-page website that actually empowers your brand, if that's what you're looking for. But there's a reason you or I cost more when you come to somebody like us than somebody over in, no offense when I say this, somebody over in India, or a college student, or somebody who's just pumping out a website for real cheap off of, 99 Designs or even Fiverr. Those websites are great if you're just starting out and just trying to figure stuff out. But if you have a developed product or service, you really need to have something real strong there for you that is actually going to work, and it needs to be fluid in design. It needs to have an awesome front end, but also a very functional back end. And when I'm talking about front end and back end, the front end needs to look pretty, be real easy to navigate. There's other things there that John and I know about that helps actually make the brand pop and really stand out from anybody else. But then there's things on the back end, such as the CRMs that John's talking about, or an inventory management system, or many other things, booking systems, stuff there that is not really talked about with a lot of people. And yes, there's ways to do it that's really affordable. And definitely, if you have any questions on a website, hit either one of us up in the comments or a private message on Savage Podcast. We can help you guys out with any of this stuff, not just the detailed business, where, I mean, if you need business, whatever, we'll do it, but that's not why I'm saying this. We're here to help. We're here to let you guys know what's going on.
That goes back to what we were saying, throwing out freebies. Like, for instance, there's Lucky's Bar in Fort Worth, Texas. They recently hired me to build their website, and I'm working on their website currently right now. It's going to be up in the next few days. But they've also talked to me, and Adam said, hey, we've been getting negative reviews from the hotel we're connected to that owns our bar. So what can we do to do some marketing strategies, things like that? And I threw out a couple of strategies like, hey, you should just throw a geo filter on to your bar competition with your drink specials, and then see people come in. And they start thinking, oh, that sounds like a great idea. We don't know how to do it, though. And so they start listening to the strategies that I have, I give them 2 or 3 strategies, and after I get done building their website, we're going to talk about another contract about their social media and how we can affect them in a positive way. Because some of the things that I do for my clients, I do sit down with them on a weekly basis when I talk to them, and we work on their strategy from week to week, month to month, and throughout the whole year, throughout the contract, they want to bring me in and work with them to talk about how their social media is doing. This content didn't work this week, this content did. Okay, if this content worked in the first 2 weeks, let's try to push more of that content instead of the other content we put out. They're testing and trialing their posts that they're making, and then they're looking for the end goal of building a brand. And that goes back to one of the things we talked about like 3 podcasts ago. Don't worry about the productivity all the time as an entrepreneur. You have to make a jump, you have to make a leap, and you have to test your ideas. And that's what good content's about, is showing people that you're testing those ideas out, giving value to the market, and then seeing if your product works or doesn't work. And don't be afraid to test. It's a test ground. That's what this is.
Yeah, and don't test too much in the wrong ways. Make sure you're doing it appropriately. That's part of the branding process as well. So one thing that I actually learned when I worked for one of the big Fortune 500 companies, one of the top financial independent dealer brokers, they actually taught us this by doing a little market research. It was part of the interview process, but it was also part of the training package, which was really interesting when they did that. But they are really well known for business training, marketing, sales, all of that. They're actually considered the #1 go-to source for this over schools. So I'm very blessed to have this training. But what I recommend everybody do right away is what I said: write down your vision of what you are and what your company is, and what product or service you're providing, and how can you get the people to attach to you. And then the next step would be to find your center of influences that you need to reach out to, and how are you going to reach out to them with your content. So say we're with graphic designers and we like to work with small businesses that are startups. So how do we attract those people, John? We go ahead and create content that's really going to attract those people. So a podcast exactly like this on entrepreneurial startup endeavors. We are experienced doing it. We know what we're doing, and we know how to reach out to them because we are part of that circle, and we have been for years. And we're finally starting to get out of the startup phase and get into the actual developed business side. And it's quite the process, but the transition is really tough, and you deal with it, and we're letting people know about it. So that way you guys know and can see firsthand what's going on. So we're delivering you this content right now. This content right now is all part of our content delivery process, and we're not all here just to sell our own products. But my point is there's a few business owners out there that we target this to, and other entrepreneurs, because we want you to know what we do. We also want to help you out. We're giving you value that John's talking about. We're giving you some free value and some free insight into things that you're not going to get from other people without paying for it. A lot of people are going to sit here and even say they're giving you this kind of insight, but they're actually just giving you some pyramid scheme and
Here,
BS book. There's tons of people out here in LA that do that.
I will give you a prime example of someone that does this, and there's going to be a Ty Lopez person that's going to hate this. Okay, so Ty Lopez, like almost a year ago, decided he was going to give a constructional video an ebook and sell it online for how to do social media marketing, right? And this was the same content that Gary Vee and a lot of other people put out for free on the daily basis, and he took all of it and constructed it into a course that made you pay for it. I thought it was quite hilarious. It said like the first 150 people were free, and the first 150 people like really quick, and the rest was like 50. I think it was like $50 to $100 to get this stuff. And I'm sitting here, I'm laughing at the content because I was like, this is the content that's easy that you can do a Google search for and educate yourself about, and how to build a branding and marketing company. And literally he's telling people, go up to businesses that can pay you $2,000 to do their that's literally what branding companies do, and you can learn that for free online without even having to go to a Ty Lopez ebook or a Ty Lopez class constructed on that stuff. It's the same free content that Gary Vee has been putting out. There's a free audiobook on YouTube called Crushing It, and it was one of the books I even held up, and I even passed that book on to a friend of mine that's been learning how to build his social media company. To me personally, my company is here to help people brand because they don't have the time for it, and they're looking to run the business operations in their jobs day to day, and learning those social media tactics they don't have time for. That's why they come to me. It's just like a real estate agent. You can actually get your own listing for a house, and you can learn how to sell houses and everything on your own if you're looking to buy a house. But you hire a real estate agent to find that house for you, to help you live in that house, get a price for that house, because you could literally do what they do. Literally, you can go to school and you can learn how to do it yourself, but you hire them to save you time. It's the same thing when like Netflix and Uber came out. They sold you back your time, so you wouldn't have to drive down the way and go to Blockbuster. They literally made it easy for you to get your movies online. Uber sold you time back because I can't tell you how many times I've called a taxi. They said they showed up in 5 minutes and they didn't show up. They didn't tell me how far they were, and I couldn't track them. Uber allows you to literally track your ride as it gets there. You know you have 5 to 10 minutes and you got to hurry up and get out the door. You know exactly where they're at. You can actually your Uber ride can call you, or you can call them, if I'm still correct.
Well, here's the main point with everything. All these people have created a brand by letting you know what they're providing, how they're providing it, when they're providing it, and they're actually bringing value to you. And even Ty Lopez has created a very strong brand. I mean, I'm not going to tear him down and say that he hasn't created a very
and I'm not trying to tear
strong
him
brand
down.
because he's letting people know, hey, I'm wealthy. I've built wealth. I've generated wealth, and I know how to do it. So why I'm going to share it with you. I'm going to charge you for seeing how I did it. I know what you're saying is exactly like what I was. There's people that are going to charge you for it when you can get it for free as well. So I mean, whichever, you can go either way. I'm not going to tear you down if you bought into his books or do buy into his classes or anything like that.
I mean,
but there's people that do it for free.
It could be more of a fast track because I had a friend that went into that, and everything he was learning, I was like, hey, I already learned that already. But when it comes down to it, is there's all this information out there, and you decide to pick and choose from the growth of information. Like before Facebook, before Instagram, before YouTube, it was really hard for you to brand yourself unless you went to a branding agency. Literally, the internet has made it so easy for you to build content and for you to advertise your company. And if you have a friend that's really good at video editing, or you have a pro camera, you can do part of this yourself. And I'm not telling you not to hire a branding agency and not to hire somebody like that. If you're making like $500,000 in your company a year, okay, go for it. But if you're first starting off and you want people to know who you are, like Adam said, you can take a picture of a client that you worked with, shaking hands with them, and then showing off their website, and then stuff like that. If you're building a website or whatever it is, try to build content to let the local area know what you do, so that way you can expand your horizons.
Right. So I guess the three main points that we've come down to today is figure out your market, who you're approaching, what your vision is, how do you attract to that market with which specific content, and then also I would say the actual delivery, making sure that you're on point and utilizing whatever you can around you. Be resourceful. It doesn't necessarily cost anything, so use your resources, or whether it be money or actual people resources, or your phone, or your local Walmart where you can go buy something for $50 versus going and spending $1,000 for a video that could be just as high quality if you know somebody that's making a high quality video. So there's a lot of different things out there, but building your brand, boys and girls, I think it really boils down to delivering content consistently. And if you ever need help with that, come to us. And if you don't want to work with us, we know other people that do it as well, and we can always outsource to them, whether it just be a little short piece of advice, or if you want in-depth service, we can help you out there too. But I do want to say real quick before we go, John, is I want to say to everybody out there, thank you for tuning in. It means the world. I want to say thank you to myself and iFluxy Studios. I've got to do that, but
yeah. Also, we are going to be throwing up the links for the Savage Podcast on our page. You can look us up on Google Play, Spotify, and iTunes. And it's Savage the Podcast. We'd love to have some experiences with y'all. We'd love to get your comments. We'd love to get ideas for new episodes. If you have an idea or a mental block that you can't get past, because we're not here for us at the end of the day. We're here to give value to the market, and the market is you in general. So we want you to listen to this and be inspired, and that's why we are so glad that you've been tuning in.
Absolutely. So thank you once again, boys and girls. Please give us a like, a comment, and share. If you've not been to the Savage Podcast page on Facebook, definitely go there. You can Google us, check us out. We also have stuff up on iTunes and I believe on Spotify now, right?
Yes, Spotify. We just got Spotify last week, and I have a Asylum. They put out the Sharknado movies. I'm gonna have a meeting with them in a couple weeks, and we're talking about distribution and how they can get on Spotify and how they can get on iHeart and how they can do all that stuff. And again, branding and marketing. So we'll talk to y'all later. I've been Johnny Langford and Adam Rorta with the Savage Podcast or Savage the Podcast. And you have any final words?
Well, I mean, just stay strong, everybody. It can be tough out there. Stay positive right now. I can see in the political climate and everything, everybody's kind of starting to lose a little bit of faith in entrepreneurship. Not everybody, but a lot of people are. Definitely don't. Stay strong. Hit us up any point in time. Again, thank you. I'm sitting here trying to do something. We're just going to go silent here once we're done and off and checking out. But I want to say thank you, boys and girls.
Thank you. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye.